Hey guys, what's up? This is Panther Dragon, aka Luigi Dragon, a top 100 challenger player in NA, and today we'll be going over the top 5 best junglers for solo queue. Alright, first off, let's go over some things before we start. Alright, so this tier list is going to be the opinions of other people's instead of just mine. My last tier lists have been based around the champions I play, as that's why you didn't see Lee Sin or Evelynn, as I really didn't play them last patch. So I didn't really have a first person opinion on them. I've always had a third person opinion on them, and yeah, my opinion has changed. And the junglers you see here are usually for higher elo. But of course, if you're good at the champ / the game, you'll be good with these champs at any elo. And of course, in the past, some things have been nerfed, and the champion pool for competitive / high elo is becoming really small. So let's go ahead and let's look at the top 5 junglers. Alright, so number 5, we do have Wukong. Alright, so spot number 5, I would put like maybe Jarvan, Wukong, or Pantheon here. I couldn't really decide, so I just picked the champion that I'd rather play over the others, which is Wukong. Again, all those champions are like equal in greatness level, but I think overall Wukong is strongest out of all of them, at least for me. Alright, so early game with Wukong again. Pretty weak in terms of early game pressure, but once he's level 6, he's got a low cooldown ultimate, which does bring a lot of damage plus CC. And once he gets some cooldown reduction via Elder Lizard or Brutalizer, he can keep spamming those ganks, which usually guarantees him a kill. And then once mid game comes, he becomes really scary, just because he has that wombo combo ultimate and contributes to teamfights really well. And let's say this, if you go like 0 and 3 early game, but somehow your team does make it to mid game equally, you'll still be useful, because you're naturally tanky, and you still have that ultimate which does a lot of damage. And you can also initiate. And then of course when late game comes, his damage is still super strong, he still has that wombo combo ultimate, and of course he's really tanky, which makes him a pretty good bruiser. And of course he is one of my main champions, so why would I ever leave him out? Alright, so at number 4 we do have Rengar. So, I put Rengar as number 4 because, well, he's super cheesy. He can do like a level 2 invade on the enemy, and it's like really impossible to get away from him since he does have bushes to abuse from that. And like the reason I say it's really cheesy is because he doesn't have any escapes, so somehow if he does some stupid shit and it backfires, he can be collapsed on if he's not level 6, and then like die. And of course when it comes to ganking, it's a hit or miss pre-6. You need to use those bushes as a gap closer, which makes it really awkward if the enemy doesn't come near the bush, but of course they usually do come. And of course once he's level 6, his ultimate usually nets a kill, as it is like Nocturne's ultimate, and you can use it from the Fog of War. And then like mid game, it's funny because he's really good at picking people off, especially if he's like really fed, as that 5 Ferocity Burst does do a lot of damage. And then yeah, once you get a pick, you can get like an objective after. And like of course if Rengar's MIA, and you're like overextending by yourself or something, he's probably gonna hunt for you and you're probably gonna die. And if it's like, even if he sucked dick early, he'll just come back and somehow randomly get kills. And then he's back in the game all of a sudden, and then he can one-shot your squishy. Of course, late game comes, it's kind of harder to pick people off as people do tend to group, but like you can also play a split push role if you need to. And then of course you can clean up the fight after. And then so some cons are like he's not really a tank, so if he does fall behind, he can't really build tank and then be useful for the team. He's really bad in team fights because it's hard to pick someone off, as usually the support will peel for his AD carry or something. And of course I do feel like he needs a snowball to be a threat. Alright, so number 3 we do have Evelynn. Alright, so recently I've been trying her out and playing her again and going like the Spirit of the Elder Lizard build. The thing I noticed about it is that she still does do a lot of damage with it. Like once I get Randuin's and Banshee's Veil, I still notice that I'm doing quite a bit of damage. And then when I tried it like a month ago, I was like, wow, I still do damage. Anyways, that was just my little rave about her. And now let's talk about her early game. So early game, she's really strong, has a really fast clear speed, and the biggest threat is she's stealth. You cannot see her. Therefore, smart laners will always have to play passive until they see her on the map, as there is a possibility that she could be in their lane when they go aggressive. Again, once she gets her Spirited Elder Lizard, everything becomes really easier. Clears become really fast, ganks become really strong, and it's just a big power spike. Once mid game comes, her stealth has become a bit less threatening, just because people group up more and have more wards. And like she doesn't really have that much hard CC or damage to pick people off by herself. But let's put her in a team fight scenario. So if she does get that flanking and initiation onto the enemy team, the enemy has to split their peeling onto you or the 4 other members who are collapsing onto them. And then of course Evelynn does become really tanky since she does get that shield from her ultimate. And yeah, I feel like her team fight mid game is really strong too. And then once late game comes, I feel like Evelynn does fall a bit, just because I feel like her damage is like lacking, and like she doesn't really have that much CC, although she still does have that true damage, and plus she's really tanky. But I feel like that's all she's got going for her late game. Alright, so at number 2 we do have Lee Sin. I know I never had him in my last tier list, but that is because I can't really play him right now. I used to be able to play him, but 120 ping is too much for me. And now from a third person view where I'm playing against him or with him, oh for sure he's good. He's really strong early game, can duel most junglers in the game, and is very mobile for getting around the map and of course getting out of sticky situations. And of course his ganks are really threatening as he does bring a lot of damage to gap closes and CC. Of course, his clear speeds aren't that bad. And then of course when mid game comes, he still does have pretty good damage, tends to be a decent bruiser, and one of the cool things about him is that he can do that insect thing where he kicks the enemy into your team. So like he's really good against someone like Twitch. Twitch doesn't have any escapes, so he can do that insect thing to Twitch, and now that 8-0, Twitch is now 8-1. So I will give him credit for that. And then of course when late game comes, all of his damage just goes down, and he's more utility late game. And all he's really good for is like, say Shyvana's diving into your team, he can kick her away, get people shields and whatnot, peel for his team, and then of course kicking enemy squishies into your team. So at number 1 we do have Elise. Alright, so why do I think Elise is so good? Well, for starters, she does like so much things early game. She can do those potential dives on people since she does have repel. Her ganks are really strong since she does have 6 skills, 2 of them being gap closers and 1 being a stun, and the others are just damage, which of course is a lot of damage. And I think one good thing about her is that she's really good at sieging. Say you did like a gank at bottom, and let's say you didn't kill them but you got them really low, you can probably take down the tower, as she does have lots of damage, a lot of attack speed, those spiderlings that take up some shots, and of course if they do try and stay around you, have a range for them to keep sieging too. And of course in the jungle she doesn't really use any pots because she does have sustain, and her spiderlings can tank, so she doesn't have to recall for a long while and can keep up that early game pressure. Once mid game does come, her damage is a bit less than what it was before, as they did nerf her Q, but at least mid game she does have like a longer stun since people are maxing out E now, and she's becoming more utility mid game. Of course I do feel like there is more stronger champs mid game, especially the ones like Wukong and like Jarvan, who have these big AoE combos, but I mean Elise is better for like disengaging and kiting the enemy and just poking the enemy. And of course once late game comes, she does have that 2-second stun which is up like every 6 seconds or something with cooldown reduction. And of course she does bring percent health damage, which is also really strong late game too. But again, I feel like she's super strong early game. She can do a lot of things, is very versatile, and in my opinion, I think she's the best jungler right now, in terms of my elo and of course competitively. Hey, thank you for watching my video, hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and comment below for some discussion. I will try to respond for the first few days and then I'm cut. Also, the top 3 champions I listed, Evelynn, Elise, and Lee Sin, are probably the only champs you'll see in like competitive play. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.